Hey folks, it's Ivan. How y'all doing today? Alright, so there is no little spectator cam in the bottom right hand corner. That is just because, well, reasons. Reasons being that don't have access to that particular computer at the moment. I don't know if I discussed that in the previous video, but I had to. What I do is I remote into my parents' computer, which is many, many miles away, and right now, fade to black, whatever nonsense that was. And we discussed about how the I'm trying to figure out why this cut out a good portion of this build. I'm not seeing where it's connected, unless it's that roof piece, which I have a feeling it might be. Anyways, if I press this, yeah, see it's definitely something maybe roof related. We'll take out this roof, that roof, and that one on that side, and we will do the same on this side. It kind of locked up for a minute. I hope that was the issue. Yep, yes it was. And then we paste it back in. Boom. Alright. And it's the right height on either side. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And of course we reconnect the two blocks together. Oh, well, actually by what I was doing before, it was gonna reconnect them anyways. So anyways, just gonna bring that over, bring this guy over, and I think this as well. There we go. Again, the details are coming later, so the windows, etc. We'll add those in a later time. Anyways, yeah, I hope that looked well on everyone else's end, as far as that picture-in-picture is what I've been calling it. Keep meaning to add the mods list, which I keep forgetting about. So I'm hoping I will get that in there soon enough. Right. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding in the sections that we're missing from before. Okay, so I think I would just leave that tower right where it's at. Doesn't seem to be hurting anything, and we'll reconnect it up pronto. Of course, there it goes there. There. And I think what I'll do is I'll finish this tower today, because I can and will. At least a good portion of it's going to be finished today. We'll come back and do the details later. I should probably look up a Hogwarts model real quick and see how tall this particular structure is. What we're going to do, oh, there it is, 7. Since we're going to be dealing a lot with the roofs here for this tower, we will be doing the diagonals, at least on the these ones. Yeah. And of course, you may be wondering, well, that part of the tower's inside. Why are you going all the way up? Not starting from maybe a different height. And the reason is just because I can. It's really what it does is it makes it easier on myself. Just going straight up. Truth be told, I like the diagonal. I'm beginning to like these ones better for certain things, just because I can paste them right up. They're a single block, they're not multi-blocked, so it makes merging things that much better. And of course I've got all this extra junk here. I don't even know how tall that tower is. No! No, 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 no. Oh, shoot. No! F10. Great. Alright. Yeah, that's no good. That's gonna destroy everything. Alright, so let's just load this back up right where we're at before. Yes. Creator of the integrated wooden gate, please update your mod. Oh, jeez. That's embarrassing. Not really. That's some... It happens. Now we gotta wait a long time. See a thing about Leonardo da Vinci. Let no man who is not a mathematician read the elements of my work. Okay. I can respect that to some degree. Yeah, I'm just trying to get rid of that piece real quick. There we go. I don't know if that was the quote from before or not. Up. Up, I say. Only this tall this time. Right. And then I need to go to the diagonals, which is here. Something is fine. You know, the biggest pain I think is going to be the roof in the end here. I just think it is. So, as of when this recording came out, Mexico had just suffered a rather large earthquake. And they are our neighbors to the south, and keep them if you pray to any or have any particular religion. I send them a prayer, or send a prayer their way. Last I read, there's 100+ people that had died so far. And that's all I'm going to talk about that. Alright, there we go. But it was something right before I started recording this. I had read, and you know, that's just wretched. So, here where I live, they say that the fault that runs under the southern part of Illinois, which, if you don't know where Illinois is, it's about the middle top, or no, I'd say middle of the United States. And to be more precise, it's the southern tip. You can probably, you know, we've got this wonderful thing called the web browser, and if I typed in Illinois right now, okay, I believe it's somewhere in this general direction. We had an earthquake, 2 of them, that had hit within, I think, the last decade or so. And it's a decade, maybe decade and a half. And ever since then, my house's doors have not closed properly. So I'm pretty sure there was some structural damage that we have not addressed. But anyways, we're going back to Hogwarts. Hogwarts model. Okay, I guess it is Hogwarts. I had it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure that it's been called. I've always seen it read as Hogwarts, but then again, who knows? I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past, and the willingness to accept that I am wrong. Okay, so here's what we're looking at right now. As you look in the background, you can see that it outcrops, and the tower itself actually smaller than what I have mapped out, I think. No, you know what? I mean, it's close. It's close enough that I'm going to leave it the way it is, rather than making it smaller. I mean, I could chop out 2 here and 1 there and some other stuff. I think it's close enough to accept as is. If that is unacceptable, I apologize. But I think that's within a reasonable deal. Since we're using multiple forms and multiple ideas, I think that's within reason. It's not within reason. It's this, that. Okay, so the other thing that I noticed here is that the tower itself stops being the tower's not really that tall. So we're gonna be careful this time. In fact, we're going to save it. Yes, I wish to save my progress. So, let's see here. Now, often as I'm doing this, I start to reflect on various Harry Potter things that I know or had seen in the movies. Like, for example, a couple of times I'll like hyper focus while I'm doing this on, we'll say, the Harry Potter Ginny relationship or the lack thereof in the movies. And personally, I don't know the actress's name. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. She kind of got shafted a little bit on that, because it was one of those scenes where, if you haven't, spoiler alert, if you haven't read the book, go read the book. It's a fantastic read, it really is. I have owned several different versions in my my time reading it. And anyways, so in the book, it's going to the spoiler part. There are several months where Harry and Ginny kind of actually act like typical teens in love, and you know, it shows that the difficult struggle that Harry has to accept, which is he's got to leave her to finish this thing, and that while Voldemort is around, he can't ever have that happiness that so many of us take for granted. At least, you know, going into being in high school, which is kind of the equivalent. And I'm like, really? They're gonna cut that out? That was, to me, that was an important piece of the literature. Because I'm like, no, come on. But in any case, they cut that out, and much to my disappointment. And this thing goes down one more, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with that. You know, we're going to extend it one more up, so we're going to give this one more. The reason for that is just so the roofs mesh a little bit better. Otherwise, they won't. If I don't do one more up. Sorry to the actual model creator, but I've got to take a creative liberty with this due to constraints by the blocks I am afforded. And so I always thought that her character and Neville got so much of the shaft on that, especially in the movies. And granted, you can only show so much in a movie before it becomes too long. And I always said that the movie it should have been a series, not a movie or an animated movie, because it clearly kids grow up, and they may grow up too fast for the role. Okay, so that being said, we're gonna put that up there like that. Flip that around like that. That looks good. Put that piece of roof right there. And of course, the one thing that I wish they would have explored is the fact that Neville really lost a lot. In the movies. I mean, yeah, Harry suffered, but I would almost say that in some ways Neville suffered more. And feel free to disagree, but the fact that his parents are still alive, but they were tortured to the point in which they... I'm gonna have to... Please excuse that one. That they just can't ever be Um, they just will never be. What I'm trying to say, what they were and what they are now. They just he how do I put it? I'm trying to use my words here. They're there, but they're not at the same time. And so it's the pain of watching a loved one be essentially trapped. And kind of, I look, kind of think about that back, or link that back to seeing my grandfather deal with his dementia, and how he's kind of trapped there. Some days are good, and some days he doesn't remember anything. He certainly doesn't remember me anymore. Granted, the memory of me that he probably does remember, it still has a lot more hair and a lot younger, if he does at all. And but anyways, so going back, I was really hoping that they were going to show that aspect, that pain and suffering that this wizard war had caused, that this amount of hatred and bigotry had produced so much long-term suffering. It wasn't just a poof, one day Voldemort was vanquished because of a old charm, love charm protection. And yes, I realized I probably got that wrong as to what it actually was. That there was a lot more pain and suffering. And again, I get it, movie runtime, but I think they could have made room for that. I would have appreciated that, because that was a touching scene. Before then, I didn't really think too much about Neville, and to see that, it got me right in the heart there, to see how much more he had gone through. It just, I don't know. It was horribly sad to see. And I would almost argue at the same point with Neville that he suffered almost more than Harry did. Just because he wasn't sheltered by the idea that his parents died in an accident, but he well knew that his parents were tortured to the point in which they're never the same. And it's got to be tough to deal with it. And plus, something somebody pointed out is the ending scene where Neville really comes into his own, and it turns out that he's becoming quite the leader of his own now that Harry's out of the picture. And they just kind of brushed it off, it seemed. It's just like, yeah, he did stuff, but oh well. This movie's about Harry. If it weren't, or if it were otherwise, it would be called Neville and the Sorcerer's Stone, etc. But anyways, getting back to my main point, that that's the kind of things that I think about when I'm building this, is about all the years spent poring over those books and the differences between the two, or something that gave me pause at some point in time when I was watching the movies, they were good to an extent. I didn't appreciate them as much as I did growing in my later years. You know, being a fanboy. Oh, this is the worst thing ever. The first movie that they came out with that was the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone for. I know it's in the UK. I don't know which other books it is. The Philosopher's Stone, but. Wish these were steep, like an opposite to the low pitch roof mod. But yeah, I was ruthless in my evaluation of the first movie and then the second one, and I can't remember if I actually watched the third one in the theater. I'm pretty sure I did, but knowing me, I probably found as many faults with it as I could. Let's see here, that was Chamber of Secrets. Yeah, I know I saw that in theaters. And then there was Aspen. Yes, I know. I believe I saw that in theaters. I'm trying to remember exactly which one that I really appreciated. It was, I believe it was Order of the Phoenix. Is that the one where Sirius dies? Oh my god. I can't remember. That's an embarrassment, to say the least. Now, I believe it was Order of the Phoenix. Because, yeah, because that was when, Sirius was going to have Harry live with him, as opposed to going back to the Dursleys, and then that, of course, was never to be. Again, spoiler alert. And it was actually that movie that made me realize a lot more about the. How does that look? That there's an outcropping of a tower right here, which I can come back and do. Trying to figure out how to do that, actually. And it's not a tower, it's a turret. Trying to think. I could actually probably do that as a round one. I'd have to get, there's another mod that I'd have to grab for that. So we'll ignore it for now. And I realize the tower doesn't look that great, but at the same time you have to, there has to be some forgiveness for the issues I have as far as blocks are concerned. And so where was I going with that Sirius bit? I think I was going to address the fact that now, mind you, I got off track, as I do on these things, And that's usually how it works with my, when I'm thinking about these things too, is I'll get so involved in an idea, and then the next thing I know, I'm thinking about something else within the Harry Potter universe, but is not exactly linked to us. And I'm not entirely happy with this. I feel like I need to pull this way to make this roof work. There we go. Okay, so this, yeah, it's on this side. It's the corners meet perfectly, and then so there's no outcropping like that. Let's check the other side real quick. If we can find a front. I can't see a front, but kinda wish I lived nearby. I could just walk down and take pictures of this at every angle I needed. Okay, so now this does crop out like this, but it's in line. If you can see it, at least it looks like it's in line. How complicated would that be? Otherwise, why does everything have to be so complicated? Now I got that song stuck in my head. Anyways, going back to the Neville thing real quick. This whole story could have easily been about Neville. Because it really, the prophecy is about Voldemort. Basically, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy by the fact that Voldemort acts on it. He's choosing someone to mark as his equal. And you could read into that being marked as his equal is distributing part of his soul into that person. And I'm going to take a drink of water here while I'm looking for this. Oh, this is so... it's always either a top-down I'm looking for, or... Wait a minute, is this... Where's this at? This is it. But I can't see... No, this is not it. What is this? I think that's the greenhouses. There is the turret, and behind... Okay, so that I see where we're at. I'm always looking for that one angle that I can never find. Okay, so it crops out just a little bit, not as much as this would lead us to believe. So this whole section really needs to be moved in a little bit. I mean, there is an outcropping, but it's not to the extent in which this one is. And if I take a look here, which I'm trying to see which one I was looking at. Okay, so all these are the same. They all conjoin together, with the exception. Okay, that one has the roof height, the same height. We may have an issue. I say. Well, that seems the roof's the same height too. Okie dokie. So if that's the case, what we need to do is we need to condense this side down. And move that back. That whole section has to be moved back. Again. Oops, excuse me. Yay. Yay. This is gonna be fun. Why? Because reasons. Alright, so really this goes up how many levels? We have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh shoot. This is gonna be easier if I count from a side, I think. Okay, this is 1, 2. So it goes 1, 2 in. So we have to move this. I say, oh. We got a boo-boo. Okay, so let's find out exactly how wide this side is. Not a copying pasting, which is causing issues. Okay, from this to there, that's 5. So this is supposed to be 6 wide. Right? Yeah, because so if we do 5 here, this is where the wall is meant to match up. And I'll explain why that is the way it is in a moment. Did I measure this right? It's 5, and then it's 5, and then straight down. No, this section needs to be in level with that. And the reason for that is that I wasn't accounting for one more piece. So we're going to drag this across. Like so. And the fact that it did not freak out when I did this indicates to me that there's foulness afoot. We're going to take out this tower. We're going to, move things to where they belong. So anyways, okay, so we got rid of that. I'm gonna copy this and paste it over here for now, because that, I believe, is the size I want to use. And we'll do the same over here. Just have to check to make sure. Yes, it's fine. Paste it way over here. Perfect. Alright, now we gotta go into F8 mode. Take a gander over here. What we're looking for is roadblocks. We have to remember that it may not just be here, but it might be back over there somewhere. This is right. So I think that will work. F6. And gonna paste it there to begin with. Alright, so that's aligned. Over here's not. Okay, so here's where things get tricky. Okay, so that's there. Now we need to align that space with this one. I think I'm in the way. No. What's in the way? Besides the block that I can't see. Okay. Alright, so I think I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, that is open. There we go. Perfect. Now this should be the right height, I think. And we'll come back over here and clean this tower area up. It looks like the outer is incorrect. This over here needs to be 6 wide, right? And we're 6. What is going on here? That's the 3. 1, 2. Okay, we gotta go over one more. So the question becomes, how do we do this? And the answer, I think, just a simple just a simple solution here. Instead of doing all that over again, what we'll do is that. And what I'm talking about is the copying pasting part when I say all of that again, to clarify. Trying to avoid an additional step that I desperately do not want to repeat. What is that hanging on to? Kind of lucked out with that, didn't we? And then, of course, this whole section of wall needs to be ousted. There we go. And that section of wall is going to be replaced over here. There we go. Now we know this part comes out a little bit, so we'll do, oops, I did that again. Wait a minute. Okay, yes, it's fine. I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on? In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Alright, so if we looked over here, it doesn't seem that that side has any of the same outcroppings. Looking for some picture. Something that shows the other side. Ah, here we go. You know, that actually looks about right. This looks like it's 4 wide. Which I think I'm gonna replicate with a 2 upside down things. And this, I think that this little outcropping is just the right height for this situation. Of course, we're just doing this, and I think what I'll do is I'm going to continue the thick stuff all the way around, and I'm going to cut off this top section here. Bada bing, bada boom. And I'm going to allow this section to be sealed up, and then we'll add the tower at a later time. Just because we can. The same goes with the tower itself. I'm going to come back to the tower and add it in, but I want to put in this roof here just to make sure everything matches up proper like. Alright. Now come on now. There we are. So anyways, now I was talking about romance. The other thing that I was thinking about is at some point in time, J.K. Rowling had, I believe, had said something about having Hermione and Ron end up together being a mistake. And I don't know, maybe in the movies it didn't quite work out. But I thought in the books it worked rather well. So, again, my opinion. Feel free to disagree at any point. I thought in the books it worked out rather well. The only thing trying to think if there was anything where I was like, you know, that really was unnecessary. I don't know. I'm sure there's something. I didn't. What some people feel wasn't. When I've talked to other people about it, they felt was unnecessary was how long the last book felt. Like, just drug on and on and on. I'm like, but you're not. You gotta see the point of it. It was a fantastic bit of writing there, in my opinion, because it emphasized. You know, you felt how the characters felt. That really, this was a long and hard journey to undertake. Especially, I believe they're, if I'm not mistaken in my guesses. They're pretty young when they took this on. Still, I don't know. I really enjoyed the books, all of them. The only one that I didn't enjoy the first couple reads through was the Order of the Phoenix, and to the movie's credit, it kind of it made me understand why Harry was angry all the time in the book, and it didn't dawn on me what was actually happening at that time. And after all was said and done, and I was like, oh, I get it now. I get it, because it had to do with Voldemort's intrusion into Harry's mind, and basically, from my understanding, it was his hatred leaking into Harry, his impatience, etc., etc., etc. So many things, etc. To be honest, and again, I began to appreciate that book a lot more when I started coming to that, when I had that realization, which I believe might have been the first movie that I went and saw with one of my friends. At that time, I believe we were either in high school or college. I think it was high school still. And my friend wanted to go see it because he was really big into the movies. I don't think he ever read the books, and it's stupid. The movies are stupid. I really didn't like this particular book. But in the end, I'm glad that he convinced me to go along with, because the realization that I had led me to appreciate that particular book a lot more than I previously had. And that's a splendid gift to have, for sure. And before, let's see here. There we go. A lot of this is coming together a lot quicker than it did previously, because I was sitting there doing a lot of math, trying to figure out exactly what things were supposed to be exactly, and I'm just kind of going with the flow of how I'm interpreting them. I'm still using the models as a kind of a good point to look at, frame of reference. But a lot of this is going a lot smoother, as well as the fact that I've decided to put the windows on hiatus for the time being. I think when I get to the Great Hall, I will do the windows again. Just because it's the Great Hall, and that it wouldn't feel right to do otherwise. Yeah, there we go. Let's see here. Now, if we were to look at one of the iconic things here, right after this part here, it goes into its thing, and I believe I've been recording for quite a while now. I think I'm going to... I keep saying I think I've been recording. I have really no idea when I started, but I believe we've been going for a good portion, if not close to an hour. So I'm going to take a break here, and next time when we come back, I'm going to finish the main tower here, Again, you're gonna have to excuse some of the oddities here, because there's the blocks that I would need to make that look like this look right. They don't exist. So you're gonna have to excuse some creative liberties, if you will, and some oddities that are in here. But that being said, it's coming together quite nicely, and I think at one point in time I do have to change this roof around, and I could have maybe did the low pitch roof to make this wider in the end, but I decided against it. And another thing I can do is the bridge that's here. Again, pie in the sky. We'll see in a later episode. Definitely gonna add the towers back in here, but we got a lot done today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm going to remind you, follow me on Twitter or bookmark my Twitter, especially because of the ad revenue stuff that they keep saying that I'm not advertiser friendly, and I think that's also putting me in the restricted file. I'm not for sure, because they're not. YouTube doesn't really tell me. They couldn't tell me what the reason that I keep getting put in that not advertiser friendly section either. I'm like, but tell me so I can fix it, and they're like, I don't know. So that being said, in case that I am in the restricted file, somehow this one broke through, definitely follow me on Twitter. That would be the best way to make sure that you are seeing the latest and greatest Ivan works come to you live. And that's gonna be it for this episode. Definitely gonna have to take another look at this. I'm not entirely happy with how that part turned out, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do to fix it, but I will fix it because that's what I do. Even if I have to make that this really tall, I think it's gonna be like massively tall if I do that. But you know, at the same time, we're doing a lot more creative liberties, and that's just how it's gonna have to be. Alright, thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.